afternoon and welcome to Hobart, Hobart Country. Hello.
So my wife and I are on holiday in Hobart in Tasmania, the southernmost capital city of Australia, and in fact the southernmost and tiniest state of Australia on what's called the Apple Isle. So we're spending a week in Hobart in Tasmania, and we're going to explore the city because I think the last time we were here was probably about 20 years ago. So we wanted to see, apart from relaxing in this beautiful, reasonably sunny, cold winter's week, we thought we'd come and see what the changes were and get to enjoy at least the south of Tasmania. Currently, we're in the middle of July here, so it's the start of winter and it's really starting to get bitingly cold. And in Tasmania, being the southernmost state, it's probably the coldest state. Right now, outside, I think the temperature is 10 degrees Celsius, feels like 0. That's the air ambient temperature. So I'm glad to be inside. I'm glad to be next to the fire in our bed and breakfast. We're staying in a place called the Corinda Collection. And my understanding is that it's based on an old, large house that's been in the family for generations. And the family converted it into a bed and breakfast just across the other side of our little deck outside here. And they then bought some of the cottages around the house, converted the main house into a bed and breakfast, and then converted all the little cottages around as standalone accommodation, and people can then go into the main house for their breakfast. They then built a couple of pods in the middle of the gardens that are surrounding the collection. And we're in pod A, which is a really nice, very well set out, 1-bedroom pod or unit. Really nice. It's got a gas fire. That's not a real one, but very nicely set out. And obviously I'll show you in the B-roll how this is all laid out with all the facilities that you would ever need. So lovely little place. The gardens amongst the little cottages and pods in the main house have been set out into herb gardens, and I think it's a sort of maze garden outside the main house. And being winter, obviously, a lot of the things are not growing, but you can see how beautiful this could be in summer. Anyway, we plan to do a lot of walking around in Hobart and around the country of Hobart. See, Hobart being quite a small, compact city, within a 20-minute drive, you're into the country. You're into farmlands, which have gradually been developed, and you're into some eco forest and heritage areas. But anyway, we're going to enjoy the city, and we're going to enjoy nature, and we're going to go to iconic tourist places like Salamanca Market, and you see what that is later in the video, as well as a place called Mona, M-O-N-A. And no, it's not about me going, it's a gallery, an art gallery, and you'll see what that's like when we get there. So part of the fun of coming across to Tasmania and spending a week here is I thought I would create a diary, kind of a vlog, like the one I did in Hobbiton. So part of the fun of coming over here was I thought I'd break in a couple of boots. Now there's a rule. If you buy new boots, you do not immediately take them on holiday to break them in, because if you're wearing those new boots and they hurt in the middle of the holiday, you are in trouble, right? You're meant to break in your boots gently, wearing them for a couple of hours over a period of time, and then gradually going to a day and so on. Do not fear. I have worn these boots in that early period, both of them, and I'll introduce you to them now. So one of the boots I'm wearing, and you might be quite surprised at this, is the Amberjack the boot. I've already reviewed this. This one is in green nubuck with this, I think, quite attractive black counter cover right at the back, made of rubber. When people saw my first review of these, they said, "Oh, it's a nice boot, but oh God, I hate that black counter cover, heel counter cover." Well, if you don't like this, you can get them in the same color. There's a tan and tan, a brown and brown, and I think a black and black, and I think there might be a grey nubuck and a grey counter cover. I was attracted to this black. I think it's different. You see, this is quite a fashionable boot. And if you look at my review, you see that it's a kind of dress casual shoe. I know this is a weird color for dress, but it's definitely a smart casual boot. It has quite a pointy almond toe, even though this has not caused me any discomfort. I think the design is really good to give you that dressy toe without squeezing your toes in. It is not a heritage boot because it's not stitched in any way. This is a polyurethane extruded sole. So what happens is they last the uppers, which I'm looking at this and saying that's a machine last, right? It's got those little mechanical fingers that pull the uppers over the last. They then extrude a tube of polyurethane into a mold, squish the mold in while the polyurethane is still hot and molten. And as it starts to solidify and stuck to the uppers, they remove the mold and then they put another mold with another extrusion of thermal polyurethane, squash that on. So what happens is you have a squishy polyurethane layer and a harder thermal polyurethane layer. Inside is Poron on the insole, and I know heritage people kind of hate Poron. I like it because it's comfortable, and which gives you a nice squish. They also give you what's called a removable, I won't take it out, a removable thermal activated spongy insole. And I thought that was a marketing term, thermal activated. But I find that the more I wear it, the more that spongy insole kind of shapes to my feet. So I think that's the warmth of my feet sort of molding the shape of that insole. So it molds to my feet, kind of like leather. Not the same, but kind of like leather. Obviously, it's not going to last that long. So I have worn this since I got them several times already. There is no breaking in required. This is basically a sneaker boot. So I've worn them, I think, 2 full days. Once at work and once going around the house and going out shopping and so on. Caused me no issues at all in terms of hotspots or break-in. Get the size right. I do believe these are true to size, but go and watch my review. If you get the size right, dial that in, and it curves to your foot very easily. So I'll be using this to walk around town because of the sneaker-like effect and because of the shock-absorbing insoles and this little cutout, which reminds me of a running shoe, really. The grip so far has been good, but let's see what it's like in slippery, wet cobbles and tarmac and so on. The next boot, oh, you guys are going to love this. The next boot I decided to bring, rather than the Chelsea, I thought, at one stage I thought I might bring a Blundstone because it's Tasmanian-based, no longer made in Tasmania, but it's Tasmanian-based. You guys will recognize this as a Nicks, and if you don't believe me, there's the label. So this is the Nicks Overlander, and I've done an unboxing of this. In fact, by the time you see this, I'll have done a review of it, going through all the materials. And through the magic of video, this video will come out after that one, but they'll be filmed in reverse order. I'm doing this first and then I'll do the review. This is the Nicks Overlander in their new leather called Spokane. Spokane? Not sure. Americans, tell me how it's pronounced, Spokane or Spokane. In Australia, we'd probably say Spokane. So this is their new leather from Halloween called Spokane. It's a development of Chrome Pack, Halloween's Chrome Pack, which in itself is similar to Chrome XL, but it's veg retanned twice rather than Chrome XL being Chrome and then veg and then hot stuffed. This is also, I understand, hot stuffed, but I think the formulation is different. It's specifically tanned for Nicks, and Nicks tell me that as a leather, it's a good combination between a work leather and a casual leather as a hybrid style, because it is less firm than their work leathers and patinas really well because of the hot stuffing that's involved. This one is in their honey Spokane, and that's the true honey color on the inside. That's the grain side. The outside is rough out and it's waxed flesh. So the Spokane leather is turned inside out and then it's heavily waxed with a coat of wax, rather like Horween's famous wax flesh. And you can also see already, by the way, that some of that wax has been rubbing off. I scraped that toe very accidentally. I do not abuse my boots, but I did scrape that toe very accidentally, climbing a curb. Very strenuous. And a little bit of scraping of that driving the car. So my impression is that this Wax Flash Spokane has a thinner wax coating, hard wax coating than Horween's regular wax flesh, which is built on Chrome Excel. But I have also worn this boot several times. It's nowhere near broken in. Nicks tells me that they recommend 100 hours of break-in. I figure I've done maybe about 25, 30, 35. And what I did was I wore this for 2 solid work weeks, 5 days, walking in the morning with my wife. And regular viewers will know that I go for a morning walk of about 2.2 kilometers around the park in my neighborhood every morning during a weekday. So it's been through 2 solid weeks of that. I've also worn it to the office, so there was a lot of sitting down. I think probably about 3 days, but I was in these for a whole day for those 3 or 4 days. And then I've also worn them for long walks, not through parks and things. My wife and I, since our various surgical operations, haven't been as regularly out walking on Sundays as we used to, going out on like 5-hour hikes. They've been on 2 or 3 hour hikes with me over the weekends. So I feel safe in bringing these to Hobart and wearing them. And I will be wearing them in the country outside Hobart. And I will also wear them in the city because I want to test them as a comfortable boot. Nick says this is a hybrid. Now, to me, this is a heavy boot. This is 1.2 kilograms a boot. This one's about 500 grams a boot. So you can see the difference. To me, this is a really heavy, tough boot. And I've had Nicks before, but I've had their casual heritage pairs, the Robert and the collaboration with Parkhurst. Loved them, but they weren't as heavy as this. I thought this was a work boot, but they tell me it's a hybrid work and casual boot. So I thought I'd wear it casually around town in Hobart, see what a heavy boot feels like in the city, walking on tarmac, wet concrete pavements, on cobblestones, and let's give you a comfort feel about this. So for the rest of the video, what I'm going to do is come back every morning or evening, tell you what I've done, and tell you how I feel the boots have worn. But before I go to the next vision, which is on the end of day 1, this is day 1, the morning thereof. We flew in last night on Qantas. We had to fly from Perth to Melbourne and then change over in a 2-hour changeover, fly across to Hobart. The flight was out of Perth Airport at 8 o'clock a.m. and we arrived in Hobart at 5 p.m. There is a 2-hour time difference. 5 p.m. in Hobart is 3 p.m. in Perth. So it's not that long. But psychologically, you're thinking, oh, I've arrived at 5. Bloody hell, it's been a long day. And I wore this all day last night. Wore it to the airport, obviously. This was packed in my luggage. Because I wasn't sure if this would go through security. This has, I suspect, no metal in it at all, other than the blind eyelets. So no problems with the airport. So I wore this for the whole trip. It was under the seat. It walked around in the terminals, the various terminals in Perth, Melbourne, and Hobart. Very comfortable. Extremely comfortable. And if you saw my review, you also see that I thought this was a warm boot because of the lining. And when we arrived in Hobart, it was like, I think it was like 5 degrees Celsius. So this was feeling very comfortable indeed. So I thought today, despite the fact that we're going to spend almost all of it in the city, in fact, I think all of it in the city, I'm going to put these on. So this is going to be my test of how the Nicks Overlander works in an urban environment with a lot of walking. So keep watching for the next segment when I'll report on how they went on day 1. And before you go to the next segment, don't forget to click and like and subscribe. It'll help me out. Okay, next one. Good morning. This is day 2, the morning of day 2. So let me tell you what happened on day 1. As I said earlier, we decided to spend the whole day wandering around Hobart City to see what it had changed and to basically take a look at the architecture and the way it's been laid out. It's a very grid-like city. The first thing is I think we seem to be staying in a residential suburb, but it's actually full of accommodation. Further down the hill, there's a main road which seems to have a few apartment hotels. There's a Quest down there and several other types of apartment hotels, as well as some very modern luxury accommodation. Where we are, there's a very steep hill going down to the main road area, and further up the hill is a place called the Domain, which appears to be a huge sporting ground. Lots of football fields, an aqua centre, things like that. So we went for a walk in the morning just to get an idea of where we were, and discovered that we were on an extremely steep hill. So my memory of Hobart was quite right in that it's actually quite a hilly place. So much so that coming back up, we had to we had to stop a couple of times and admire the view to catch our breath. But anyway, I'd laced these up early in the morning, so I'd been wearing these all day. They're heavy, the Nicks Overlanders. Remarkably comfortable boot to be walking around in the city. And in fact, after we had our breakfast and the walk, we drove down into the city and parked at the outskirts, I think you might say, and then walked around all over the place, looking at the scenery. And the buildings in Hobart, I think, are a great mixture of the late 1800s type buildings, very Victorian, and I don't mean Queen Victoria, I mean the state of Victoria, very Melbourneian. So it was a very pleasant city to walk around in. As I said, it's a kind of grid system in the way of streets, so you can't really get lost. It's sort of 2 blocks that way and 3 blocks that way. Walking all around, we ended up at the waterfront, and walking for miles, this was a very, very comfortable boot. And for being very heavy, that's very interesting. And there's no squish in this at all. There is no rubber pour-on foam. Although I do think that instead of a cork filler, from the videos I've seen from their channel, the Nicks Handmade Boots channel, they seem to put in a piece of foam rather than cork as their filler. Interesting. Anyway, you don't feel that squish when you're wearing them because all you feel is the leather under your feet. And for being stiff leather, not yet broken in, for being oh, I'm surprised I can do that. So it's beginning to sort of bend over. For being all leather, not broken in, the right size, and I think that's key in all things. There were no hot spots. There was no tightness. There was no squeezing. The round toe helps, obviously. This H&W Last has great arch support and is very, very good in encompassing the toes. Solid heel counters so that you're not moving and shifting. Really, really good to walk around in. We ended up at the waterfront, which is an old historic area. This is quite a small, compact waterfront area down at the bottom of Elizabeth Street onto this waterfront area here. Obviously, once upon a time, quite a lot of shipping and fishing, but right now, very touristy. And we're going to go on to Battery Point down there. And eventually we did get to Battery Point, where we had lunch at a pub, an Irish pub. Where else would you go for an Irish pub? And had a really pleasant lunch, rested for a while and then kept walking, and eventually went through some parks, found the car, drove back, and in the late afternoon had a bit of a rest here. So what's on the agenda for today, day 2? Wait a moment and you'll see. Good morning. It's the morning of day 3 here in Hobart in Tasmania, and I'm here to tell you about what happened on day 2. So we decided to go for a drive into the country, which didn't surprise us that it's only about 15 minutes out of the city. It's such a compact little city is Hobart. So we went to Risdon Brook, which is a park that's built around Risdon Brook Dam, which I understand is the main source of fresh water into Hobart. Hobart's got a lot of estuaries and rivers and streams that come out into it, and if you look at the map of Hobart, there's a lot of little estuaries out. But we went up towards the north to Risdon Brook Dam. Lovely day. So we had a walk around. We saw the facilities around, which is built for families really. So it was a really nice walking trail, and we spent really the whole morning there. So this is Risdon Brook Dam, what I understand to be one of the major sources of fresh water for the city of Hobart. And it's a brisk morning. You can see the low cloud and the mist covering some of the lower areas of the mountains back there, and the reflection of a very cloudy day on the lake itself. The trail around Risdon Brook Dam is really nicely laid out, very easy walk, but there are a few trails that are off the main trail around the dam. The grass around here is littered with wallaby poo, and I can do a bit of David Attenborough and go, and the flora and fauna is around here, I don't know anything about it. But it's a lovely cold morning to go for a walk, and the dam itself is fringed by a combination of pine trees and then some of the gum trees native to Australia, which my wonderful cinematographer will pan around and show you. And it was really fun, I have to add, to see so much difference in the greenery that we would have in Western Australia, because this is obviously plants growing in a cold climate. But at any rate, we spent the afternoon having a rest. It is a holiday after all. So there was a lot of reading by the fire, watching a bit of TV, and basically just slouching around. And then in the evening, we went out to dinner. There's a really nice, well-written up restaurant called Templo, very small. It used to be a butcher's shop, so you can imagine how small that is. I think there might have been a total of 16 covers maximum, 2 servings. But really nice food. They had a chef's menu, which is a degustation menu, and some really good wines, which they had up on a chalkboard. It was really delicious. My wife and I really loved it. Some dishes I think were better than others, and the standout was the pasta. Small dishes because it's a degustation menu. Anyway, the scenery as we came and went, we walked, by the way, it was about a 20-minute walk. Very steep hills, but the scenery was really fantastic, and at nights those hills brought out some really beautiful picturesque scenes as we walked to and from the restaurant. But to boots. So I brought 2 boots out in this section of the video because I wore both. This is the one I wore to Risdon Dam. It's got a bit dirty, but the top of it's not very dirty at all. A lot of walking around at Risdon Brook. We went around the lake, very comfortable walking trails, but from time to time you could go off trails, so that was rather fun. Comfort-wise and grip-wise, the comfort I've already spoken about. It just became more and more comfortable despite the heaviness. You felt that you were built into the boots. It was that sort of comfortable. It's not like it was, soft and squishy, but it felt like you were stable. You were built into the boots. They were built around you, and the stability was really the top point, I think. In terms of grip, The Vibram V100 Commando sole was extremely grippy on all kinds of surfaces. A commentator said when I unboxed these, and one of the comments was, I said it was a Commando sole. One of the comments was, "That's not a Commando sole, that's a Vibram V100." I'm sad to say that Commando sole is a generic term. It means those soles that are built around these radiating lugs with the stars in the middle. The Vibram V100 is the make and model. So that criticism was a bit like saying, that's not an SUV, that's a Toyota RAV4. Same thing. But anyway, really comfortable, super solid grip. It is beginning to flex a little bit. It's much more than I could flex it before. The leather is softening really beautifully in the shaft because I've been wearing it, and the heat of my feet have been softening it and so on. And I do like this leather. I'll talk more as the week goes on, but I really do like this leather. It's a combination of firmness and subtle. Now, the other reason I brought this boot out, this Amberjack, this other boot, was because I wore it in the evening. When we went out to dinner, I put this on. It's soft and comfortable. The strange thing is, for the first 10 or 15 minutes after I put this on, I actually felt uncomfortable. The Overlander had supported my feet so much that when I put these in and it was soft and squishy, I thought, there's something wrong. And I thought the squishiness dug into my foot. The interesting thing, I think I said that I felt that my feet sank into the Overlander. But with the Amberjack, the foam pushed into me to support me. After 10 or 15 minutes, no problem. The 20-minute walk to the restaurant, no problem. Super comfortable. Really like this. Kept my feet warm. That lining, the sheepskin lining with no fur, this is just plain sheepskin, perforated, is really quite insulating. Good grip, certainly on concrete. Enjoyed wearing it. All right, so there you are. Next section, I'll bring you what happens today. Hello, Editor Tech here. The vlog of my week in Tasmania got quite long because I really enjoyed going through all the different places and showing you the different places, and I had so much to talk about those places even before I got to the roundup of the boots at the end of the day. So I've decided to split the video into 2 installments. This is the end of part 1. And if you want to watch part 2, which I hope you do, then make sure you click on the like button below and subscribe so that when it pops up, you can watch it. And I think what I'll do is I'll release part 2 on the very next day, so you don't have to wait very long. You can watch both parts at the same sitting if you like, or break them up. So I hope you take care out there. Remember, come back and watch part 2.